Few things that I'm going to announce. Primarily, they're the things that are just to my right as I speak. Kansas City is committed to making sure that our investment in housing, housing preservation, affordable housing production, and ending homelessness and houselessness is vital for our future. We are investing in ways unlike ever seen before. We want to thank our taxpayers for passing our question on marijuana sales taxes, which Kansas City will be targeting 1/3 of funds to homeless prevention, homeless outreach, and services. This is the first time in the history of Kansas City that we have had a dedicated annual fund that addresses homelessness services, prevention, and make sure that we are actually putting our money where our mouth is. We can't just say we want to build shelter opportunities, social services, and so many more without actually tying money directly to it. So I largely want to thank our taxpayers for doing so, for saying yes once again, and for allowing us in Kansas City to do the hard work to make sure we're addressing these issues long term. A few things that we've worked on already in our efforts to end homelessness in Kansas City. We're engaging in building the capacity of more street outreach specialists, case managers, and care coordinators. We're often asked, what is Kansas City's solution? How do we address homelessness long term? The answer is not clearing encampments. The answer isn't being heavy-handed or incarcerating folks. It's making sure that we're doing the outreach, that we're doing the work necessary to address the important issues that so many individuals face. Another proposal in Kansas City that we continue to work on at City Council is expanding our physical infrastructure for homelessness response and creating low-barrier shelter and permanent supportive opportunities for those who are below 30% of our area median income level. This is to ensure that everyone has a safe, dignified, and stable opportunity for housing. We also saw yesterday the passage of short-term rental fees and tax measures. How does that relate to our housing conversation? It's actually a fairly direct connection. With short-term rentals, we've seen distortion of housing markets in a number of neighborhoods. I know I saw it as a 3rd District councilman at large initially. It's something we're seeing in so many parts of our city. This will allow us not just to have a better registry and regulation of short-term rentals, but also will allow us to make sure that neighborhoods are not being changed drastically by short-term rentals that are changing the housing market there. This year, thanks to the leadership of a number of my colleagues, particularly Councilwoman Andrea Boo, who now joins us, we've seen expanded funding in our Tenants Right to Counsel program, something that's administered out of our housing department, but something that is changing lives, helping hundreds of Kansas Cityans help prevent eviction, preventing homelessness, and more than anything, recognizing that they have dignity and care. And then a few other things I wanted to discuss, and then I'll get out of the way. We also are big on implementation. For too many years at City Hall, we have talked about ideas and programs. And by the way, that's not shade on anybody other than me and some others. I was chair of the Housing Committee in the prior council. We had bold initiatives and bold ideas. We didn't have money, we didn't have staff, and we didn't have enough implementation. We are seeing a difference today. And a big part of that is having people who walk the walk each day being in leadership roles. That's why today I'm proud to announce that Councilwoman Raina Park Shaw, who has done, I would say, more than any elected official, probably in Kansas City's history, to work with and help prevent homelessness in our community, is being appointed as chair, or at least recommended as chair, of our land bank in Kansas City. Raina will do outstanding work in that position, and she is someone who will spend the time, the hours, her own treasure, her own heart, to make sure that everyone knows they can have a dignified place to sleep and to live. And she personally has done that through cold winters in 2020 and 2021, doing outreach in neighborhoods throughout Kansas City, leading regional conversations in Missouri and Kansas. I thank you for taking on that important role with our land bank and making sure that for the years to come in Kansas City, we will do right by not just having a land bank, but making sure that we're helping rebuild communities along the way. I'm also proud to announce the appointment of Councilwoman Melissa Robinson and Councilman Dan Fowler to our Homesteading Authority. The Homesteading Authority has a vital role on disposition of properties in the core of our community, rehabbing and preserving neighborhoods, but also making sure we have the right balance in our neighborhoods. As Councilwoman Robinson has told me many times, the story isn't just getting new ownership from somebody out of town that comes over, fixes up some houses, and then frankly can be a bully in a neighborhood at times. It's making sure we listen to the people each and every step of the way for how we rehab our housing stock, how we rebuild our neighborhoods. Councilwoman Robinson, I know, knows that story from being a school board member, a district council person. I thank you for that effort, and I thank Councilman Dan Fowler for continuing to be in that effort. Allegedly, Councilman Fowler is actually done on council, he claims, in late July, but I hope this is just one of many signs that he knows we will just keep him involved forever, and we thank you for that. So we know that there's a lot more work to do with housing, but in the same way that you have been here for celebrations about World Cup, the NFL draft, Super Bowl victories, so many big things happening in Kansas City, this is something that's huge. As somebody who knew housing insecurity when I was growing up, as somebody who continues to talk to people each day that are wondering how they can continue to afford to live in Kansas City, this is something that will change Kansas City for future generations. Thank you to my council colleagues for being here, and with that, I'll turn it over to Councilwoman Raina Park-Shaw.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, first of all, for appointing me to the Land Bank Commission. I am excited to get started, and I appreciate you trusting me. A safe, affordable, and stable home is one of the most basic needs for an individual and a family. And unfortunately, we're seeing a housing crisis not only in Kansas City, but across the country. In the past few years, this council, and I'm really proud of the work that we've done, this council has worked tirelessly to improve our response efforts, including significant efforts to prevent evictions from the establishment of our right to counsel, which has recently just been expanded or extended the funds to that. Also, with the establishment of the Mayor's Houseless Task Force, which I was fortunate enough to chair and lead that, which established the Zero KC houselessness program, houseless prevention program. And I'm so excited and just have to give credit, even though the mayor's already mentioned them, the excellent work and partnership of Markea Watson and Josh Hinges in the development of that. And I'm really excited about the work that we will do, especially now that we have a dedicated funding source to allow us to implement the actions that we worked on for nearly 2 years. I appreciate the voters and want to thank the voters for their support of the ballot questions. Their overwhelming support displays that we are aligned. And I'm really proud of the fact that as a council, we are listening. And the fact that the voters have continued to support the ballot initiatives that we put in front of you shows me that we are aligned. And that's what I'm most grateful for as a council member, because together we can end homelessness. Together we can address our affordable housing issues. I look forward to joining the Land Bank Commissioners as they have worked tirelessly over the last several years, or actually in 10 years. It's been 10 years since this has been developed. But I'm really excited now with the opportunity to really look at innovative solutions on how we can utilize this dedicated funding source, the voter support, the council support to truly make an impact, to create and establish vibrant communities, utilizing those nearly 3,000 land bank properties that we have within our city. So I look forward to the work that we're able to do, and I'm just going to tell you now, we'll come back at some point with a new update of the success that we've had there. So with that, I will turn this over to Councilwoman Melissa Robinson. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We certainly want to thank the mayor. There's been no other mayor in the history of this city who has walked the talk as it relates to housing, that has had a bold vision for housing ever since that he was a city council member of the 3rd District, not only leading a bold plan, but making sure now that that plan can be actualized through strategic action. And so we should be very proud of our mayor for the work that he's done, and we really want to thank him for making sure that the 3rd District has positional leadership to address the housing challenges that we have in our city. The Homesteading Authority and the Land Bank is primarily made up of properties that are in the heart of our city. The heart of our city, which is a gold mine. It's a gold mine for current residents, and they deserve access to making sure that they are able to build wealth on that land. It is a gold mine for our incremental developers, local developers, making sure that they have access to make sure that our housing is affordable and that we can remediate the blight that we see each and every day. But today we're taking a step forward and making sure that we have the correct alignment. Now is the time that we have to align our city resources, and I look forward to working with the mayor's office to ensure that we're aligning our community development block grants to surround the Homesteading Authority properties, to surround the land bank properties. We have green infrastructure that is being put into the middle of the 3rd district around homesteading property. We have to make sure that we're able to ensure that we align our infrastructure, whether it's sidewalks, whether it's streets. When developers come to the 3rd district to invest, and when they come into the heart of the city to invest, there is a cost. There's a high cost. And so as we look at our housing trust fund dollars, as we look at our Central City Economic Development dollars, we can layer those approaches as well as tax abatements to ensure that we are repopulating the 3rd district, our urban core, with mixed income residents, a place where everyone can thrive and everyone can belong. And so I'm very excited about the pathway forward, and I look forward to working with Councilman Dan Fowler on the Homesteading Authority, along with Diane Binkley and Jennifer Tidwell and our city manager, Brian Platt, to make sure that we're expediting, we're advancing, we're executing with a sense of urgency to make sure our core is strong. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I'll be very brief. I want to thank the mayor for appointing me to the Homesteading Authority. I cut my teeth on municipal government in many ways working with Northland neighborhoods. And through that organization, I saw firsthand the value of neighborhood revitalization, neighborhood organization, and elimination of blight. Elimination of blight not only improved the lives of the people who lived in the particular dwelling, but also of the entire neighborhood. And with my appointment to the Homesteading Authority with my colleague Melissa Robinson, even though I anticipate being there a short while, I hope to further that effort and to move forward on the efforts we began in my first term on council. And I have to give kudos, like Melissa did, to Mayor Lucas. He was the one who came up with the idea of the Housing Trust Fund. And we scratched our heads for a while and said, okay, we got it, now how do we fund it? Fortunately, in this term, we were able to find some funds. Good things can sometimes come from bad. The COVID-19 pandemic was bad, but because of it, we got ARPA funds that allowed us to populate the Housing Trust Fund, to do some initiatives around homelessness, and many other things that are going to be overall a benefit to the city. So I'm very proud of the time that I served on the council. I'm proud of the time I've served with our mayor, and in this term with my colleagues Melissa Robinson and Randa Park Shaw and Andrea Boo. I hope we can move forward from here. So thank you all very much.